I question you a little bit.
Oh.
I guess after, like, the reaction to Ronnie kiss and stuff, I was like, oh, shit. I just think you've met a bloke for, what, fucking couple of days and all of a sudden you're wifed off. That reaction warranted wifed off. To open yourself up.
Kansas Defense League, we need to unite. We really need to unite, and we need to have a meeting, because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. How can we continue to sit there and watch them? And the producers, the audacity to continue to sit there and watch people pile on Kaz and not stop it, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, because why is she the only one getting the negative sashes? I feel like people like Curtis and people like Marcel did it because they wanted brownie points from their girls. That's the only reason why they did it, because there was no justification for their actions. There was no justification for what they did. And Grace is in the villa, and I can't wait for her to go head to head with Olivia and Ekin-su. I can't wait. If Ekin-su thinks that, Kaz's competition, at least Kaz knows to sort of settle down and sort of humble herself. I can't wait for Ekin-su and, Grace to go head to head. But anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars, Season 2, Episode 7. So everyone is sitting back. You have India has left, and so they're just sitting around because they've realized that it's that time people are going to start leaving the villa, because I think in the first week everyone was under this guise that they were just arrived, we're back in the villa, let's enjoy life. And now they've realized that actually there is a possibility that you could be the next one to go home. You have Tina pull Scott for a chat just to explain to him why she chose him. And she says she was undecided and made her decision at the last minute because she still didn't know who she was going to pick. But anyway, she eventually decided to pick him because she felt they needed to give it at least a shot, because they had an attraction the first time they met and they haven't explored it, so they deserve to explore it. Scott, I think, doesn't want to come across as a jerk. This is why he was sort of and eyeing, but I think he really wanted to be chosen and is happy that he was chosen. I don't think he still wanted to be in a couple with India after she called him calculated. I think the moment she did that, he decided to jump ship and was looking for anyone to sort of save him off the sinking raft that was India. You have everyone else just sitting around and just sort of reflecting on what's happened. And you have, Luca come out and he starts crying. And so now you have Kaz feeling guilty because she's saying, is it because of what I said? Is that why he feels bad that I said I'm still looking for my person to come in? I didn't mean to, to offend him. And somebody says, oh, that was shade. Well, Alma says it was a bit shady. And it's like, no, Luca's been saying he's waiting for his person. He told Kaz when he chose her that I hope your person comes in. So that's all she reiterated. I don't get why you're saying she was messy. I think people are just looking for an excuse to go after Kaz. Luca starts crying and is being consoled by Ekin-su. Ekin-su is, he's saying, I think the reason why he was crying, this is just my impression or my opinion, I think he was crying because he didn't expect not to be chosen. So the fact that somebody he sort of slightly liked didn't choose him, this is why he's realized that, oh, I might actually go home because nobody else seems to be giving me attention. And it's like, well, you have Kaz has been giving you attention, but you've just been standoffish. The problem is you're not allowing anyone in. You're expecting someone to like you for who you are and then pick you immediately. And sadly, that's not how it works. I know someone in the comments was saying Luca appears to be going after rich girls. And it's like, I don't think so. Well, in his season with Gemma, people thought he went after Gemma because he was a fan of her dad. I don't know whether this season he's going after someone who's rich. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as the time goes on. Everyone eventually comes to console Luca because they all feel very bad for him. And the fact that Ekin-su was like, oh, listen to me, trust me, listen to me. And it's like, Ekin-su, who are you? Yes, you're on the same season with him. That doesn't mean that you should ignore everybody else and silence out all the other voices and just listen to you. What's so important about you? What makes you be the voice of reason? I don't get it. At the fire pit, you have Ronnie and Scott. They're sort of talking about the fact that he's been chosen, and then they notice that Luca's crying. And so everybody goes to console Luca again because you have Ekin-su pull him away from everybody with Curtis. They're followed by Naz, and then you have Ronnie and Scott follow up, and she's, oh, Scott really likes you, this. And it's like, Ekin-su, don't be patronizing. Please don't be patronizing. Just allow this man to feel how he feels. If he's upset, allow him to feel upset. If he's going to be consoled, allow whoever he wants to console him. Your opinion doesn't matter. Everybody gets ready for bed, and still everyone is consoling Luca. And it's like, what's the big deal? I don't understand what's really upset him, what's really triggered him. We've never seen Luca be this emotional. So what is it exactly that's making him emotional? The fact that he's constantly being told, no, you're doing way better. Did he have a lot of backlash? His backlash was off the way that he treated Tasha, not the fact that the way that he treated Tasha and the way that he treated Danica was why he had backlash. At the moment, he seems to be doing great. So I don't think that's why he's crying. I think he's crying because nobody has chosen him, and that's why he is crying. So in the morning, the islanders wake up and it's oaks galore because obviously Inda's gone, and you now have Tina sharing a bed with Scott. While the girls are getting ready, am I the only one who noticed that Curtis actually gave Kaz a drink? He gave Ekin-su her drink first, and then he gave Kaz a drink. And I think this is one of the things maybe that he might be doing that we haven't seen, and why maybe Ekin-su has an issue with Kaz that doesn't make sense to the rest of the viewers. I think Curtis might still be having conversations with Kaz that we're not seeing, and this is why Ekin-su is constantly going after anyone that Kaz tries to explore a connection with. You have Tina sit for a chat with Scott and just sort of catching up as to where they are as a connection, because obviously they're a new couple in the villa, and across from them you have Kaz and Luca on the day beds, and the way they were actually they were actually listening to that conversation. They were more or less in that conversation because Kaz was saying, I'm watching them, but because I have glasses, they can't see that I'm watching them. Luca on his part is still interested. I think he's trying to suss out what's going on because he's still interested in this girl. He did say he understands that Tina and Scott had something that they were exploring, so it makes sense that they would want to sort of explore it to the fullest and see if there's anything there, if there's anything amazing. If not amazing, you have two bombshells arrive in the villa, and I want to see the producers because I want to understand how they are making their choices of who comes in. It doesn't make sense to me that they keep bringing in islanders that they know for a fact will like certain people, and yet there are people in the villa, people like Kaz, people like Luca, who have no one and have no hope of exploring a connection at the moment. Make that make sense? It doesn't make sense. They need to bring a diversity of cast. They can't continue to bring the same people at the same every single time. So you have Grace walk in. She walks in with Ronnie. Ronnie's from season 9. Grace was on season 11. People called her Greedy Grace. And so everyone is surprised to see them. Catherine, I think, has met Grace, so she was happy to see Grace because she actually called out Grace. You have, Olivia feel some type of way about seeing Ron because apparently Ron was with her friend Lana, so she's going to be side-eyeing him. And it's like, please don't make a scene. Don't really make a scene. So everybody gathers around the fire pit. And Ron is very confident. Grace is always confident. This is nothing new for her. So she came in as a bombshell and she's coming in as a bombshell. And you can see some of the guys are sitting up a bit straighter. They really like Grace. I'm surprised that she knows Ronnie. And it's like, where do you know, Turbo from? Does Turbo know every single girl? Oh, yeah, they were in the same... I'd completely forgotten they were on the same season. And she was with Joey for some time and he was mates with Joey. So it makes sense that they would know one another. So... You then have Grace and Ron agree to pull their first person for a chat. So you have Grace and Ronnie go for their first chats. Ronnie goes with Kaz. Grace goes with Casey. Why she went with Casey, I don't know. Maybe she just wanted to get him out of the way because she knows who he is and how he moves around, the Villa girls. And that's why she wanted to get him out of her way. Besides, we all know Casey is not her type. Her type is Marcel and maybe Naz. Maybe Naz, if she's being generous. Otherwise, everybody else is not her type. You have, Ron pull Kaz for a chat. And for me, I didn't get that. I really didn't get that. I don't know whether he decided to go for the girl he knew wasn't in a couple first or in a romantic couple. Yes, he had a conversation with her. I liked that he was reassuring because he reassured her that, as much as she tried to explore her connection with Ron, there was nothing wrong with it. She was entitled to do that. And and he was entitled to explore connection as well. There was nothing wrong with the way that they moved, even the fact that they kissed, which was good for her because it sort of lifted her up a bit, because I think she's felt so beaten down on that she's was about to lose hope. So him sort of saying that to her was good. Casey says he's been single for 2.5 years, and it's like, yeah, okay, you've been single since before you came into the villa. You came into the villa and you explored connections. You're still exploring connections 2.5 years later. Make that make sense. That's not making sense. So you have the guys sitting, in the cabana, they're having a conversation, and you have Scott tell everyone that, Grace likes people that are a bit spicy. So maybe people like Luca or people like Marcel, her type. And it's like, we all know that she likes the brothers. Everybody else needs to take several seats. So they have their conversations, and then Casey goes to the guys and he's saying, oh, that was a very good chat. I really enjoyed myself and I'm open to getting to chat to her. And it's like, well, you are open, but is Grace open to getting to talk to you is the question. So Grace sits with the girls and they're sort of interrogating her and sort of asking her, what are you looking for in a guy? And you have people being territorial, people the likes of Gabby. And it's like, you're trying to intimidate the wrong person. Grace is not intimidated. We saw this on her season, that she's not afraid to go for what she wants. She will go and be turned down, but she won't, hold back just because you said that's your guy. So Grace then pulls Luca for a chat. And it seems Grace and Luca know each other from wherever, Manchester, she said. And so I didn't quite understand it, because are they saying that they met at a club? They met at what? I don't know. Wherever they met. Grace said she was having the time of her life. She was in her early 20s and now she's ready to settle down. And one thing I noticed with Grace on her dates, she's the one who spoke the most. And she spoke the most about herself. And it's like, so if you're talking about yourself the most, how are you getting to know these guys? How are you going to be able to make a decision of who you want if you're not giving them the opportunity to sort of tell you about them? Or do you already know these guys? I don't think she and Luca would make a great couple. I think she would walk all over him. Yes, Luca can be stubborn, but I think she would walk all over him. I don't think they would make a great couple. Seeing her with Naz, though, she was sort of a bit flirty. She was sort of checking him out. And I don't know whether it's because he carries the pigmentation that she more or less leans for, or what it is about him that she liked. He said, he's a slow burner. I found on Love Island that people use slow burner as a code word to say I'm not attracted to someone. That's the impression that I get, that people use the word slow burner as a way of saying that I'm not attracted to this person, but I'm going to give them an opportunity. Grace said she's open to getting to know all the guys. And I think she already has her top 3. I think everybody else, she's just sussing them out because she doesn't want people to know who her top 3 is. But I think she already has a top 3 and she's just sussing the rest of the people out to see what's available to her. Ron had a conversation with Catherine. Apparently, this is their first time meeting because Catherine was on Tyreek's season. That was season 10, I think. So they haven't met before. And so they really seemed to enjoy, their connection. It was more a social conversation than a flirty conversation, in my opinion, because he was just trying to get to know who Catherine is, who she's in a couple with, and sort of trying to say they're going to try and make Naz jealous so that he can sort of pursue Catherine more. So do I think he's romantically attracted to Catherine? I don't think so. I think he sees her as a friend, but that's it. That's all she'll ever be. I don't think he'll ever be romantically attracted to her, which is sad that if Naz is not into Catherine, can we bring Catherine someone that's like someone like her? Catherine and Kaz deserve better, in my opinion. He then pulled for a chat Gabby, and they really seem to hit it off with Gabby because he was even flirting. Oh, you have beautiful eyes. Oh, I can pick you up. Has Casey not picked you up? And it's like, this is the person that he wants. He might not go for her because she's in a couple with his friend, as he and Casey were on the same season. But I think if Casey were to drop her, he would jump to get her. He would really jump to get her. So I can't wait to see what happens with that connection and sort of what conversations they will have. And so it will be interesting. So the islanders get ready for the night, and while they're getting ready, the girls are sort of trying to suss out Grace to find out who she's interested in. And Grace is being very vague because she's just come out of the villa, so she knows how to navigate this thing. So she's not going to be an open book, but those that know her type should be worried at the end of the day. Ron is having a conversation with the guys, and the guys are trying to suss out who he's really keen on. And someone is saying, you know, you need to try Kaz, and he says Kaz is stunning. You know, she is very good looking. She's fit. And so I might be blind, but you know, I'm not that blind. And it's like, well, if you're not that blind, how come everybody else in the villa can't see that Kaz is a stunning girl? I don't get this slander and the way the guys are sort of turning against her. I don't really like it, and I don't like the edit that she's getting. So you have the islanders get ready. They leave, you know, the bedrooms, and so you have people, everyone is nervous because they don't know who the bombshells are going to go for. So everyone is in their couple, but they're nervous that who are they going to go for and who are they going to pull for chats. Anyway, you have Casey, well, he's having a chat with Gabby, and they're sort of discussing their connection and the fact that, you know, they are still open. Casey's wanting to make it be known that he's open. I think Casey's interested in Grace. He really is, but he doesn't want it to be that obvious that he's interested in Grace, because when he came in, you had Kaz call him out, and then he had the situation with Tina. And so I think if he moves mad, he knows that people are going to really call him out, and he's going to end up backing what Kaz really accused him of doing and what he was fighting against. So I can't wait to see that. You have Olivia having a chat with Marcel, and Marcel is saying he's settled and he's content in his couple, and he really wants Luca to find something, so he's hoping Grace is that something. And it's like, well, you should ask your partner, because Olivia seems to be entertaining something with Luca. So as much as you're happy in your connection, is Olivia feeling the same way? Make it make sense. They have this little back and forth about Casey and how excited he was about speaking to Grace. And it's like, this is not going to end well. Did the producers put Marcel up to this? Because we know for a fact Olivia is going to carry that water and give it to Gabby. And just like that, you have, Ronnie is sitting by the day beds with everyone and Elma, and he's sort of saying he wants to pull Liv for a chat. And then after Liv, he'll have a chat with Elma. And Luca is his wingman, so he asks him to go for a chat with Elma, because he says Elma is right here. Why not just take her for a chat? He had already spoken to Ronnie in the bedroom, and Ronnie had said, you're welcome to pull her for a chat. And I'm like, pull her for a chat, couple up with her. We need Ronnie free so that he can couple up with Kaz and keep Kaz free until Kaz's person comes, or until they win the show. So you have Ron sit down with, Alma. And I love that he called her out. He really did call her out, because her behavior was unnecessary. The way she behaved was unnecessary with the Kaz situation and Ronnie's situation. Because he told her that, you're behaving as though you're wiped off. You only knew this guy for a couple of days, and yet you were so angry. You were crying over someone that you've just known for a couple of days. And she's, oh no, I'm a very emotional person. I cry over everything. Oh, I like that he called her out. She needed to be called out, because she made that situation bigger than it needed to be. So somebody needed to call her out, and I'm happy that Ron called her out. What do I think? I think he's interested in her. And he's trying to show her that he's not intimidated by her. And at some point, her head is going to turn for Ron. If Ron continues to put the pressure on, her head is going to turn. You have, the girls sit down, Olivia and Gabby, and the gossip comes out. It was coming. It was a matter of time, because you have Olivia telling her that, Casey was excited to be pulled by Grace for a chat. He told the guys that he was excited, and it's like, Olivia, this is not your business to share. Why are you doing this? Why do you have to be at the center of drama? We were rooting for you. You were behaving yourself this season. What has happened? What has changed your mind and brought out this side of you? Really trying to understand why Grace pulled Casey for a second chat. We all know Casey is not her type. We really all know he's not her type. So the idea that she would pull Casey for a second chat, unless the producers are trying to be messy and trying to break up Casey and Gabby, that's the only other reason I can think of. Because otherwise, it doesn't make sense why she'd pull him for a chat. It would make sense if she were pulling Marcel. We haven't even seen her pull Marcel for a conversation. So the idea that she would pull, Casey for a chat still doesn't make sense. The way they were flirting as well. Casey is really keen. He's really keen, and he's going to look for an excuse, just like Scott did, to sort of break up with this girl, because I don't think he still likes Gabby. I think he's over Gabby and is now ready for Grace. That's just the impression that I get. So So the islanders gather around the fire pit and they play this game. They have boxes, and in the boxes are sashes. And so the sashes have a saying on them, and then you have to pick the person who you think they represent. And so the first one is Casey. He stands up and he picks Heartbreaker, and he decides to go for Ronnie because of the love triangle situation. That's why he did that. You have Ronnie, he picks up Jealous, and he says because of the way Elma reacted after he and Kaz sort of had a conversation, but it was only the first week, and he wanted to explore another connection just to make sure that there was nothing there, because at the end of the day, there was no point in him staying in a couple, only for the couple not to work. And you could see that Elma was shaken. She really was shaken because she realized that Ronnie might not be as into her as she thinks he is. And so I can't wait for that awakening to sort of continue to dawn on her. Next up is Elma. Elma, got picked up sexy, and she decided to give it to Ekin-su. And it's like, why are we sucking up to Ekin-su? Why? Is it because Ekin-su is the one who helped you sort of win your guy back? Make that make sense? Ekin-su picks up a Sash written Thirsty, and she says it's for Kaz. And it's like, I don't like this Kaz slander. I really don't. I hate the way we're making Kaz as though she's the villain in the villa when we actually have villains that are in disguise. Ekin-su, the way she's been trying to encourage people to sort of turn against Kaz, that's villain behavior. So it's a bit strange that we've decided to paint Kaz with this brush. Kaz picks up Bad Communicator, and she gives it to Luca and says it's because, he's been giving her mixed signals. He's not actually coming out and telling the truth. And he said because he really wasn't into her, that's why. And it's like, this is the Luca that we've seen in his season. The one that his ego is usually bruised and will say some things that will upset people. And so this is him, and I'm not surprised with how he behaved. And next up we have Luca. He picks up Vanilla Vibes and he gives it to Scott. Scott is in his feelings because he says he's in his 30s, he's not 24 years old, so he's entitled to sort of move a different way from when he was younger, which makes sense. Scores picks up Fit AF and he gives it to Kaz, and it's like, oh, thank you. At least someone has given us something positive. I really loved that for Kaz because it boosted her ego. And then you have, Naz stand up and picks up Loyal, and he decides to give it to Curtis, and it's like, why are you sucking up to Curtis? Are you trying to be in sort of Ekin-su's good books? Make that make sense? Curtis picks up Salty and he gives it to Kaz. He said because Kaz was salty after Ekin-su picked him. And it's like, well, if she was salty, the producers would have shown us, because they really are trying to paint her in a negative light. So I don't get why he gave her the salty. That really rubbed me up the wrong way. I think he was trying to get brownie points from Ekin-su. Marcel picks up Self-Absorbed and he gives it to Kaz, because he says Kaz is only doing what's in her best interest. And it's like, why are we trying to do Ekin-su's bidding? He knows Ekin-su is good friends with Olivia. This is why he's done that. It's not because Kaz is self-absorbed. There are people that are more self-absorbed. Alma, in particular, the way she overreacted is an indication that she's very self-absorbed. Gabby picks up Passionate and she gives it to Curtis. And it's like, why are we sucking up to Ekin-su and Curtis? Are they the bosses of the villa? Make it make sense. I didn't get it. Casey was upset because he felt, he should have got the Passionate one. And it's like, hey, to each their own. Tina picked up Clueless, and you had Casey sort of mumble, well, you should give that to yourself, but then you can't give it to yourself. And she went and she put it on Casey. And she said, you were clueless because you thought that by dumping me, I would feel some type of way. And I actually didn't feel any way about you leaving me. And it's like, well, it is what it is. Grace picked up Predictable and she gave it to Ronnie because she said it's not surprising that he's in a love triangle. He was in a love triangle on their season. Well, it was bound to happen because Grace is best friends with Harriet, so I'm not surprised with that. Catherine picks up Stylish and she gives it to Gabby. She said Gabby's outfits have been fire, and it's like, I don't get it. I really haven't seen it. I think they should have given it to Kaz, but then maybe I'm just biased. Ron picks up Extra and he gives it to Elma, and Elma, I'm surprised that she pretended to be surprised. He told her this in private and he said it in front of everyone, and I think this is why she was in her feelings, because he said to her, the way you reacted was over the top and it wasn't necessary. I don't think you should have reacted that way. And I'm like, Finally, someone is standing up for my girl Kaz. Finally. But anyway, you then have Olivia pick up friend zone, and she went and gave it to Luca. And it's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to prove a point? Luca is right to say that, well, she had, this connection with me and she gave me a kiss and suddenly now I'm in the friend zone. Make that make sense? It doesn't make sense and I don't like it. And you could see that this is going to create drama tomorrow. This is going to create drama. And especially the fact that you had everyone giving Kaz, a Sash. I didn't like that. I felt some type of way because had it been any of the other girls, people would have been crying. But because the guys think Kaz is made of strong stuff, this is why they've continued to pile on. And some are doing it for brownie points with their girls, which I really don't like. But anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 6. Bye guys.